Hello, my name is Varvara Anikina, and today we will be talking about getting to yes through listening. First of all, we need to understand what is getting to yes. When we enter a negotiation, we expect a result. We want our ideas to be accepted, we want the other party to agree with us, our interests to be met, and our project to develop. And what about the other party? It's the same. People on the other side of the table also want their ideas to be accepted, they want us to agree with them, they want their interests to be met and project to develop. So, in negotiations, it's important to search for the common ground. For the both parties' interests to be met, ideas to be accepted and common project start. What do we need to find the common ground? First of all, we need to be prepared for the negotiations. You learned that in the previous lecture. We need to know our own goals and interests, our strengths and weak points, what we need the other party for, where we would step out and where we would not. Secondly, we need to gather as much information as possible about the other party. What kind of organization we are meeting with, what kind of people will be representing it, what are their job positions and personalities, what are their interests. Why would we need to know about other parties' personalities? Because we are negotiating with people having their own character, their internal needs, their own ways of seeing the goal of their organization in general and the task for this specific negotiation in particular. And when we come to the negotiations, we bring ourselves as people, our character, our values. We represent the interests and values of our companies. So in negotiations, people meet. Our personalities unfold. In our lectures, we will talk about profiling. These are the types of personalities you may possibly meet during the negotiations. And maybe you will learn more about yourselves. Now, I would like to talk about the importance of listening. Do you know what the most common mistake is being made in the start of the negotiations? We bring our own arguments and ideas to the table. Think again. We bring the commercial proposal, the ideas of the common project. We are happy with that. We believe it may be very interesting to our partner, and we fail. Why? Because we didn't listen. We didn't give space for the other party to uncover their suggestions, interests, and personalities. We didn't build relationships. We didn't think in a long-term perspective. Oleg in his video talked about how rapport and empathy are important, especially if we plan to build long-term relationships. They bring more profit, they give us more money, they give us professional contacts. So, what is important in relationships? It's the sense of us, you and me. We bring ourselves into the negotiation table and take the other person into the account. And for that, it is important to listen. At any point of negotiation, just stop and listen. There are 3 layers of listening, as Holly Crawford says. Internal listening. It is when you listen to yourself. How I'm feeling right now? What is going on with me? How do I react to what is being said by the other person? Agree? Disagree? Am I comfortable? Hungry? The other layer is focused listening. You're focusing on the other person. This means not only listening to each word, but also being aware of non-verbal communication and nuances. How does the other person feel? How does they react to what I'm saying? Is he comfortable? Hungry? What does he like and dislike? What are his goals? What are his values? What kind of person he or she is? And finally, global listening, focusing on the conversation in general, on the relationships that are being built. What is the energy and tone between you and your conversation partner? Are there any shifts in the attitude? Are we going to the common ground or not? Maybe a pause is needed, or lunch, or a good joke? If you learn to divide your attention between these 3 layers of listening, you will be more successful in negotiations. And of course, it is important to let your partner know that you are listening. For that, you need to develop so-called active listening skills. Firstly, nonverbal signals such as nodding, leaning forward, keeping eye contact, smiling. Echo. It is a technique when you repeat the last phrase of your partner. It doesn't mean you repeat every phrase, but just once in a while, to let your partner hear what he or she has just said. Asking clarifying questions. In the next video, Ekaterina will talk more about the power of questions. Paraphrasing. This means repeating with your own words what your partner has just said. Some people use these techniques naturally. For some, it requires more practice. In the process of negotiations, it's important to be flexible and open-minded. The other party brings something we never thought of before or we don't have. New ideas and thoughts come up during negotiations. And it is important to remember that we perceive the information through our own lenses. There is always a risk of misinterpretation, misattributing the meaning that was not intended by the other party. That is why it is important to ask questions and clarify. Remember, the other people may see things differently. We may agree or disagree with them, but that's why the negotiation process is so interesting. Listening is not only hearing what is being said with words, but also, and sometimes more importantly, what is behind the words. Happy discovery!